My sister faked a pregnancy to hijack my baby shower. You're not the only one in the spotlight, she sneered. Her fake belly hit the floor. What I did next changed everything. The pregnancy belly hit the floor with a hollow thud, and 60 people gasped, watching my sister's lies deflate right along with it. For a moment, everything blurred. The gasps, the murmurs, the sticky sweetness of garden flowers in the air. Then my eyes landed on my phone. The receipt glowed on the screen, silicone pregnancy prosthetic size medium. And suddenly every weird comment, every inconsistent detail, every gut feeling I'd ignored came crashing down like a tidal wave. My hands trembled so badly the phone nearly slipped from my grip. But here's the part one didn't tell anyone. Part of me had been waiting for this. Hoping for it even. For once I would have power over Brooke. That dark, vinegar-sharp satisfaction sat in my chest like a cold, heavy stone, and it scared me more than anything she'd ever done. To understand how I got here, you need to know what happened 3 months ago. My name is Vanessa. I'm 29. 7 months ago, I was pregnant with my first baby. When those 2 pink lines appeared, I cried, not just from joy but relief. Because finally, I had beaten Brooke at something that truly mattered. My throat ached from the sobbing, raw and tender. It shouldn't have felt like winning. But it did. After years of watching her claim every milestone first, this was mine. The one thing she couldn't take from me, control or diminish with a casual comment at Sunday dinner. And God help me, part of me was glad she couldn't have it. Brooke is 4 years older, and those 4 years had always felt like a chasm between us. I was 8 years old at Aunt Linda's wedding when Mom introduced us to distant relatives. This is my beautiful daughter Vanessa, and my other daughter, Brooke. The words sounded casual, but the way she said Brooke's name carried a quiet dismissal I couldn't ignore. Brooke's hand went slack in mine, her painted-on smile frozen. I felt her palm go clammy before she pulled away. That single moment set the tone for the next 18 years. I didn't understand it then. I was just a kid who wanted her big sister to like her. I'd bring Brooke my drawings to see. She'd glance at them and walk away. When I got my first boyfriend at 16, she told him I was high maintenance at a family barbecue. He broke up with me 2 weeks later. It took me years to realize, Brooke wasn't cold because of something I did. She was cold because of what Mom did. Because in our mother's eyes, I'd won a competition I never knew I'd entered. And Brooke couldn't forgive me for it. So she made sure to win everything else. Better grades. Better job. Better husband. Bigger house. She turned our lives into a scoreboard, and for years I let her keep score. I told myself she'd earned those victories. That maybe if I stayed small enough she'd finally let me in. But she never did. Brooke was supposed to be first at everything. Marriage, career, babies. Except she wasn't first at babies. I was. She'd been trying for 3 years by the time my test came back positive. 3 years of temperature charts and hormone injections and hopeful waits that ended in blood and tears. I found out later she'd gotten pregnant once, made it to 12 weeks before losing the baby. A missed miscarriage. She told no one. Not even Connor. She was waiting until it was safe. When I announced at Mom's house during Sunday dinner, the whole family was there. Tyler and I are having a baby. The table erupted. Mom screamed. Dad cried. And Brooke smiled. He hugged me. She said, "Oh my God, Vanessa, congratulations." Her arms felt stiff around me, her perfume, that expensive floral one she always wore, suddenly cloying in my nose. But her eyes had gone somewhere else entirely, like she'd evacuated her own body. I posted 17 times on Instagram that first week. The last one was captioned, "Some of us are actually pregnant." I deleted it after 2 hours, but Brooke had already seen it. He liked it even. My stomach twisted when I saw that little heart notification, guilt mixing with vindication. Why am I doing this? The thought flickered and died. I pushed it down. 7 months into my pregnancy, my best friend Kier was throwing me a baby shower. Gorgeous garden space. Soft yellows and whites. Everything was perfect. Until exactly 1 week before the shower, when my phone rang at 10 p.m. It was Brooke. "Vanessa. Oh my God, you're not going to believe this." Her voice was shaking, manic. "I'm pregnant." The words hit me like cold water. My first thought wasn't happiness. It was, of course she is. Of course she'd do this now. The baby kicked hard against my ribs as if sensing my tension. "Just over 2 months," she said breathlessly. "Can you believe it? Finally. We'd had lunch 2 weeks ago. She'd ordered sushi and a glass of wine. I could still remember the sharp smell of the wasabi, how she'd eaten every piece without hesitation. Something's off. But I can't prove it, yet. The next morning Mom called with the inevitable request. Could we share the baby shower? Within hours my phone was exploding. Aunt Linda. Grandma. Carter's wife. The pressure was suffocating. Okay, I heard myself say. We can share it. My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. Brooke squealed so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. That sound, that high-pitched victorious sound, should have been my first clue. It rang in my ears long after we hung up. At Sunday dinner, 3 days after her announcement, Brooke held court. One hand on her very obvious baby bump. I'm about 10 weeks now, she said, sighing dramatically. The fabric of her dress stretched taut over the curve. I frowned. 10 weeks. 3 days ago she'd said just over 2 months, 8 or 9 weeks. Tyler squeezed my hand under the table, his palm warm and reassuring. Later in the car he said, "You're overthinking this." But I couldn't stop noticing. Thursday at Mom's house. Brooke drank a massive iced coffee. When I raised an eyebrow she shrugged. My doctor said 1 cup a day is fine. Saturday on Instagram. Officially giving up caffeine for my little miracle baby. The next family gathering. I watched her eat raw salmon sushi. When Aunt Linda commented, Brooke laughed it off. My doctor says it's fine as long as it's from a good restaurant. I was 7 months pregnant and couldn't even smell fish without gagging. So when's your due date? I asked casually at Mom's house. Brooke waved vaguely. Oh, sometime in late April or early May. I knew my due date down to the hour. How could she not know hers? The doubt gnawed at me like something alive. Each inconsistency building on the last. A tower of lies waiting to collapse. Am I being paranoid? Jealous? Or am I the only one seeing what's really happening? Then I made the phone call. I sat in my car outside Mom's house and dialed Riverside Women's Health. My fingers felt numb against the phone screen. Hi, this is Brooke Morrison. I'm calling to confirm my next appointment. The receptionist paused. I'm sorry, we don't have a Brooke Morrison in our system. Are you sure you're a patient here? My blood turned to ice. A cold sweat broke out across my forehead. Must be the wrong office. Thanks. I hung up and stared at my phone. There was proof. My heart hammered against my ribcage so hard I thought I might be sick. I had the evidence, but what I did with it would change everything. The next 6 days were hell. Brooke didn't share my baby shower, she colonized it. She called Kira directly. Changed the color scheme to pink and blue. Added 15 people to the guest list. Requested specific games that centered her miracle baby story. Kira called me furious. Vanessa, your sister is demanding a slideshow of her fertility journey. At your baby shower. I should have confronted her then. Privately. Given her a chance to confess. But I didn't. Because somewhere deep down I didn't want her confession. I wanted her exposure. I wanted everyone to see what she'd done to me. I wanted the power I'd never had over her. The want tasted bitter in my mouth, metallic and wrong. That weekend I was at Mom's house when Brooke went to the bathroom. Her purse sat on the kitchen counter. The leather was soft under my trembling fingers. I knew it was wrong. But I reached for it anyway. A text notification lit up her phone screen. Babe, I know this is hard, but we need to talk about the shower. This is getting out of control. From Connor. My stomach dropped. He knows. Connor knows she's faking. My mouth went dry. I grabbed her purse. Inside, buried under her wallet, was a folded receipt. Miracle Maternity Silicone Pregnancy Prosthetic Belly, medium size, $94.99. The paper felt flimsy between my fingers, but the words were solid, damning. And beneath it, a crumpled note in Connor's handwriting. Brooke, I can't keep doing this. We need to tell them the truth before the shower. This isn't healthy. Please. The world tilted. Connor wasn't orchestrating this, he was trying to stop it. But he was also keeping her secret. Adrenaline flooded my system, making my hands shake as I pulled out my phone. I photographed everything. The camera shutter sound seemed deafening in the quiet kitchen. And I knew exactly what I was going to do. That night I showed Tyler the receipt. His face went cold and determined. We're exposing her. At the shower. In front of everyone. That's cruel. Not as cruel as what she's doing to you. I called Kira. I need your help. And it's going to sound insane. When I finished explaining, Kira was silent. Then, are you sure? This is nuclear. I considered all the times Brooke had come first. All the ways she'd colonized my joy. All the years of being my other daughter. The anger felt like fire in my chest, hot and consuming. Yes. I'm sure. We planned everything. The game. The questions. The careful escalation. Kira's cousin Simone would record everything as insurance. The next morning I woke up calm. Surgically calm. Tyler said I looked like someone preparing for battle. My pulse was steady, my hands finally still. I'm sure, I said before he could ask. But what I didn't say, what I couldn't say, was that part of me was terrified of what I was about to become. The garden space was stunning. White tablecloths, yellow flowers, string lights overhead casting everything in a warm golden glow. The air smelled of honeysuckle and freshly cut grass, sweet and summery. For about 5 seconds, I let myself feel sad that this beautiful day had been poisoned. Then I pushed the feeling down. Guests started arriving. Hugs, congratulations cooing over my belly. I smiled and thanked everyone, my mind already 3 steps ahead. Each embrace felt mechanical, my skin too sensitive under their hands. And then Brooke made her entrance. She wore a flowing pink dress, her silicone belly prominent and perfect underneath. One hand resting on it in that universal pregnant woman pose, beaming like she'd just won something precious. The silk fabric caught the light, whisper soft and expensive. Oh my gosh, everyone. Vanessa and I are going to have our babies so close together. She caught my eye as she said it, and for just a moment her smile turned sharp. You're not the only one in the spotlight, she murmured as she brushed past me. Her perfume washed over me again, that same cloying floral scent making my stomach turn. I watched her work the room, accepting congratulations, soaking up attention. And I felt nothing but cold, pure focus. My jaw ached from clenching my teeth. The shower unfolded normally at first. Games, laughter, cake. The buttercream frosting was sickeningly sweet, melting on my tongue. Brooke dominated every conversation, steering everything back to her miracle pregnancy. She opened gifts meant for me and gasped dramatically at each one, running her hands over soft baby blankets and tiny onesies. And I waited. Finally, Kira stood up, clapping her hands. Hey everyone. Time for a special game. It's called Guess the Baby Facts. The crowd gathered around. Brooke preened. Kira started with softballs. Who's having a boy? Me. Who's having a girl? Brooke. Allegedly. Then specifics. Brooke, what's your due date? Late April. Around the 20th, I think. Great. And which doctor are you seeing? Dr. Patterson at Riverside Women's Health. Perfect. And how far along are you now? About 12 weeks. The room was engaged. Laughing. Completely unaware. Kira turned to me. Vanessa, your due date is April 12th, right? You're seeing Dr. Alvarez? 32 weeks along. That's right. My heart was racing. Kira nodded thoughtfully. Turned back to Brooke. Her voice shifted just a degree cooler. So Brooke, if you're 12 weeks pregnant now with a due date in late April, that's interesting timing. Because last week you told Carter you were nearly 3 months along. And you told Aunt Linda you were 10 weeks. So which is it? The rustle started, that uncomfortable shift when people sense something's wrong. Brooke's laugh came too fast. Too high. I must have gotten confused. Pregnancy brain, you know. I let the silence stretch. The cicadas buzzed. Suddenly too loud. Then I stood up. Fully. The room's attention swiveled to me like a spotlight. Pregnancy brain, I said quietly. Each word deliberate. Is that also why you can't remember your doctor's name? Brooke's face drained of color. What? I called Riverside Women's Health 2 days ago. My voice was steady. Surgical. They've never heard of you. You must have called the wrong. And is pregnancy brain why you ordered a silicone belly online? I pulled out my phone. The glossy receipt photo filled the screen. Because I found this in your purse. Along with a note from Connor begging you to stop before the shower. The room erupted. Gasps. A fork clattered against a plate. Connor's face went white. Vanessa, that's not. You knew. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. Connor, you knew she was faking? Connor looked at Brooke. Then at the crowd. I found out 2 weeks ago. I've been trying to get her to tell the truth. He looked at Brooke, eyes full of pain. But it's already gone too far. Mom stood up. Face stricken. Vanessa, what are you saying? I'm saying Brooke isn't pregnant. I looked directly at my sister. Her eyes were wide. Panicked. The string lights caught on the unnatural curve of her belly. Too smooth, too perfect. She never was. She faked the whole thing to hijack my baby shower. 60 pairs of eyes turned to Brooke. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Her hand was still on her fake belly. Frozen mid-gesture. I could see her chest rising and falling. Rapid. Panic setting in. That's insane, she finally managed. Voice shaking. Vanessa went through my purse. Answer the question, Brooke. Dad's voice cut through like a blade. Are you actually pregnant? Brooke looked around wildly. Mom. At Carter. At Connor, who stood frozen, face gray. Sweat beaded on her upper lip. It's not what it looks like. Then what is it? I stepped closer. Grass crunched under my feet. Explain why you faked a pregnancy. Aunt Linda stood up. Vanessa, this is cruel. Whatever she did. But Grandma's voice cut through. Sharp as glass. Linda, sit down. Brooke needed to be exposed. What she did is sick. Dad nodded slowly. This had to end. Then Brooke spoke. Her voice barely audible. I was going to fake a miscarriage. In a few months. I had it all planned out. The garden went silent. Even the cicadas seemed to stop. Aunt Linda's face changed. Horror replacing defensiveness. Brooke, that's not just desperate. That's sick. Brooke was crying now. Real tears. Raw, ugly, the kind that come from somewhere deep and broken. Mascara streaked down her cheeks in black rivers. I couldn't take it anymore. Her voice cracked. Everyone was so excited for you. Do you know what that feels like? For just a moment I saw it. The 8-year-old girl whose hand went slack in mine at Aunt Linda's wedding. The teenager who smiled through every introduction that marked her as less than. Then the moment passed. So you thought this was the answer? Mom's voice was shaking. Brooke, what is wrong with you? I want my gift back, Grandma said quietly. Then louder, I want my gift back right now. One by one, guests started standing. Demanding their gifts. Revoking their congratulations. The rustling of gift bags and tissue paper filled the air. Accusing. And I stood there watching, waiting to feel victorious. Instead, I just felt hollow. Like I'd won something that had already turned to ash in my hands. Connor stepped forward. Brooke, tell me the truth. Right now. Are you pregnant? She reached for him. Desperate. Connor, please. Are you pregnant? No. A whisper. No, I'm not. The silence that followed was deafening. Connor stared at her for a long moment. Then he turned and walked toward the exit. Connor, wait. Please. Brooke lunged forward, reaching for him. And that's when it happened. The belly shifted. Visibly. Unnaturally. The bottom edge separated from her skin. Creating a gap beneath her dress. The silicone caught the golden string lights overhead. Gleaming. That telltale artificial sheen. Smooth and rubbery. Nothing like real skin. Someone screamed. Brooke looked down. Her hands flew to the prosthetic. Trying to hold it in place. But the adhesive had loosened from her sweat and tears. I could see her fingers scrabbling at the edges. Desperate. The belly slipped. She grabbed for it, both hands clutching desperately. Too late. The prosthetic fell. A hollow thud echoed through the garden space. 60 people gasped in perfect unison. A sharp collective intake of breath that felt like all the oxygen being sucked out of the space. The belly lay there between Brooke's feet. Pale beige silicone. Still slightly rounded. Visible seams along the edges. Under the string lights, you could see the artificial smoothness that had tried to mimic skin and failed. Looked obscene lying there. Like discarded evidence. Brooke stood frozen. Her dress now hanging loose and flat against her actual stomach. The difference was staggering. The pink silk draped limply where it had been taut moments before. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The smell of the garden flowers suddenly felt overwhelming. Nauseating. Then Grandma's voice. I want my gift back. Right now. That broke the spell. The whispers started, a low, horrified buzz that grew louder by the second. Connor stood in the doorway, staring at the belly on the floor. He looked at Brooke one last time, really looked at her like he was seeing a stranger. You need help, Brooke. Real help. And he left. The screen door slammed behind him, the sound cutting through the tension. Brooke crumpled, collapsed into a chair, hands covering her face, sobbing so hard her whole body convulsed. The fake belly sat 3 feet away, catching the light like evidence at a crime scene. Her shoulders shook with each gasping breath. Nobody moved to comfort her. Not even Mom. Kira stepped forward. Oh, and Brooke? Simone's been recording everything. Brooke's head snapped up, face blotchy and swollen. You wouldn't. It's insurance, I said. My voice hollow. My throat felt tight, dry. People started gathering their things, casting disgusted looks at Brooke as they filed out. But some of them looked at me too. And those looks weren't all admiration. I felt their eyes on me like weights. Mom approached Brooke. Go home. Return every gift. And don't contact Vanessa until you've gotten help. Brooke looked at me one last time. Her face was destroyed, mascara streaked, eyes swollen and bloodshot. I hate you, she whispered. I know, I said. You always have. Carter was the last to go. He stopped beside me. I hope this was worth it, he said quietly. His cologne, sharp and citrusy, lingered after he left. Those words burrowed into my brain and wouldn't leave. Within days the texts started rolling in. Not all of them supportive. Aunt Linda, what you did was cruel, Vanessa. A cousin, I can't believe you do that in front of everyone. Carter called. You could have confronted her privately. But you wanted the audience. You wanted everyone to see her fall. I hung up on him. But my hands were shaking so badly I nearly dropped the phone. His words burrowed into my brain and wouldn't leave. Connor moved out. They separated, though he never filed for divorce. The story spread through our extended family. Brooke had to return every gift. She deactivated all her social media. Stopped coming to family dinners. The humiliation was total. But 3 of my cousins stopped inviting me to events. Carter went 8 months without speaking to me. Half the family thought Brooke was a monster who deserved it. The other half thought my method was unnecessarily cruel. The family fractured down invisible fault lines and I stood at the center of the earthquake I'd caused. Even Kira admitted months later that she felt weird about it. I guess I just wonder if we could have handled it differently. Tyler had moments of doubt too. I'd catch him looking at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. I keep thinking about her face when everyone turned on her. There wasn't another way, I said automatically. But the words tasted like ash in my mouth. 5 weeks after the shower I went into labor. My daughter Lily Renee was born at 4:23 a.m. on April 11th. 6 pounds 12 ounces. Perfect in every way. Her tiny hand wrapped around my finger, impossibly soft and warm. The hospital room filled with family within hours. Everyone except Brooke. The absence felt like a missing tooth, painful and impossible to ignore. Mom told me Brooke had asked if she could visit. If she could meet her niece. I said no immediately. But the words stuck in my throat. Tyler backed me up. But I saw the look he exchanged with Mom. Like they were both thinking, you're becoming the thing you accused Brooke of being. I held my daughter and told myself I'd made the right choice. But late at night when everyone had gone home I felt it. A deep aching loneliness. A sister-shaped hole where Brooke should have been. The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and new baby powder, sterile and lonely. 6 months later. Brooke showed up at my house unannounced. I opened the door with Lily on my hip and we stared at each other. The autumn air was crisp, carrying the scent of fallen leaves. She looked different. Thinner. Older. Broken in a way that surgery couldn't fix. Dark circles shadowed her eyes. I know you don't want to see me, she said, her voice small. But I needed to say this in person. I'm sorry. For everything. I said nothing. Lily grabbed a fistful of my shirt, her tiny fingers warm against my collarbone. I've been in therapy 3 times a week. I'm on medication. I'm trying to understand why I did what I did. Her eyes welled up. The truth is, I hated myself so much I couldn't stand seeing you happy. It wasn't about the baby. It was about my own brokenness. Lily squirmed in my arms. I bounced her gently, feeling her weight shift against my hip. That's not an excuse, Brooke continued. I know that. I destroyed everything. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I see what I did. And I'm sorry. I didn't hate her. But I didn't trust her. And I wasn't sure I ever would. I hope therapy helps you, I said quietly. But I'm not ready to let you back into my life. Maybe I never will be. Brooke nodded, tears slipping down her cheeks. She smelled different, no more of that expensive perfume. Just soap and sadness. I understand. She turned to leave, then paused. She's beautiful. Lily. Mom sent me photos. And then she walked away. Tyler found me still in the entryway, Lily asleep on my shoulder. You okay? I don't know. 3 years later. Last month Mom called with news that stopped me cold. Brooke's pregnant. Actually pregnant this time. She's 16 weeks along. Everything looks healthy. After we hung up, I sat in my car staring at nothing. The steering wheel felt cold under my palms. And here's what I didn't expect. I felt happy for her. Not immediately. First came suspicion, is she lying again? Then defensiveness, why should I care? But underneath was something else. Relief. Because maybe this meant she could heal. Last Sunday, Mom showed me a sonogram photo. I looked at it. Really looked at it. The black and white image blurry but unmistakable. And I didn't feel anger. I felt something quieter. Something that might eventually become forgiveness. Tyler noticed. You okay? She's actually pregnant, I said softly. After everything. How do you feel about that? I considered for a long time. I think I'm glad. Tyler squeezed my hand, his thumb rubbing across my knuckles. That's growth. 3 years of silence is a long time. 3 years of returned birthday cards and ignored apologies builds a wall that's hard to climb. But somewhere in those 3 years I stopped being the person who wanted to watch her fall. Last night I stood in Lily's doorway watching her sleep. Tyler had just told me we're having another baby. A girl. My hand rested on my still flat stomach, warm through my pajama shirt. And all I could think was, what if they turn out like us? What if I unconsciously create the same hierarchy that destroyed Brooke and me? What if 25 years from now one of my daughters is standing over the other's public humiliation? But then I remembered the sonogram photo. The quiet happiness I'd felt seeing that Brooke was finally actually pregnant. Maybe that's where healing starts. Not with grand gestures or forced reconciliations. But with the small, unexpected moments when you realize you don't want your sister to suffer anymore. This morning I watched Lily playing with her blocks. I'm the best at blocks, she announced proudly. Then she paused. But someday I'll teach my baby sister. My heart stopped. The wooden blocks clacked together in her small hands. Tyler walked in, saw my face. What's wrong? I couldn't take my eyes off my daughter. Already thinking about her sister. Already choosing generosity over competition. Nothing, I whispered. Everything. Because I just realized, it doesn't have to be the same. And this time I'm the one who gets to decide. Later that night I found myself doing something I hadn't done in 3 years. I picked up my phone and typed. Congratulations, Brooke. The phone screen glowed blue in the darkness. I stared at the message for 10 minutes. Then I deleted it. But for the first time I didn't feel good about deleting it. My finger hovered over the screen, trembling. 3 years later I still ask myself. Was I protecting myself or performing revenge? Could I have stopped her without destroying her? Maybe there is no right answer. Maybe we were both wrong. Her for faking a pregnancy to steal my moment. Me for choosing public destruction over private confrontation. Or maybe the real answer is that revenge and justice look identical in the moment, and you only see the difference when it's too late to take it back. In my position, what would you have done? If this story made you think, feel, or question your own choices, hit that subscribe button. Because the messy, complicated truth about families, revenge, and regret, that's what we explore here. And trust me, you won't want to miss what comes next.